Jack Sawyer was one of the 3 representatives for Ohio State at Big Ten Media Days on day 1. I'm Stephen Means. That's Andrew Gillis. We were also representatives, but of Buckeye Talk, not the Ohio State football program. That's why Jack Sawyer is here, to represent the Ohio State football program. Get the text, 614-350-3315. Everything you're about to see in this video, we've already texted about. Andrew, you actually were at Jack Sawyer for his full 45 minutes at the podium, and it seemed like he spent a good chunk of that kind of going to bat for his head coach. What did he have to say about that?
Well, everything I think tied together today, because I don't know if you're aware of this, Ohio State's lost to Michigan 3 straight times. And that was kind of the crux of his entire press conference availability. Because you got to remember, it's not just Buckeye Talk here. It's not just the Ohio State beat here. The entire Big Ten conglomeration of media is here, and everybody wants to know how Ohio State's feeling about losing 3 straight to Michigan. And when you talk about that, it comes back to a lot of our guys came back because they want to beat Michigan, they want to win the Big Ten championship, and they want to win a national championship. And he said, look, we came back because we want to accomplish those things. And that was something that he hit. I mean, he might have said beat Michigan. Oh, he didn't say Michigan. He said win the rivalry game, beat the team up north, win a national championship, win the Big Ten. He said those things a lot. And the one thing that kind of tied everything together was, you're right, it was Ryan Day, him saying, look, we kind of feel like we've let him down. Jack said, I feel like I've let the city down a little bit. You got to remember, this is a Columbus guy. This is an Ohio State guy who has been a Buckeye pretty much his entire life. He's grown up in it. He's been in it. And this is a player who played really well at the end of last season, as everybody well knows. And Ohio State lost to Michigan, and they were so close for 2 years in a row. And he thinks that Ryan Day is probably getting a little bit unfair criticism. He said that one of the things that he saw after after some of these games that they lose is, that Ryan Day doesn't care enough. And he said, I mean, that's just ridiculous. He went to bat for his coach, because we've talked about this. I mean, we talked to Jack about this on our podcast. I talked with Jack a little bit about this to the side. He committed to Ryan Day first. He was Ryan Day's first commitment when Ryan Day was the head coach. So he committed then, and he kind of had to recommit over the offseason, where he said, look, we haven't done this, and this is just as much on us as it is on Ryan Day. And he goes, Ryan Day's man enough to get up here and tell you, the criticism's part of the job and the pressure's part of the job, but it's just as much on us. And that was Jack's entire point. So yeah, Jack really went to bat kind of defending his head coach, talking about, look, this is a group effort, and this is why we're all back, because we want to win and we want to accomplish the things that we set out to as a recruiting class, but we also want to win them for Ryan Day.
6 years. Jack Sawyer has been associated with the Ohio State football program. As you mentioned, he is the first player to commit to the Ohio State program when Ryan Day was officially the head coach back in February of 2019, which means he got an offer in 2018 at this point. And now he is back for year 4, and it seems like he might be ready to explode as a football player and be what we thought he could be as a recruit. And he is kind of leading what's now a talent filled roster, overwhelming with talent. It feels like he led that as a recruit, and now he's leading it as a player, but also what he could be in 2024 as a player, especially as an edge rusher for Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, the way that these recruiting things kind of shape up is that there's a group chat. I mean, just like you have with your friends, you have a group chat with all of the committed prospects, and the 2025 guys, the 2024 guys, they all have group chats, and Jack was the first one in that 21 class. He's kind of leading the way. He's in that group chat. And it was the same thing when this offseason happened, where there's a group chat going with all the players that could go pro, that could come back. You think of the guys like Denzel Burke. You think of guys, like JT Tumaloa. You think of guys like Emeka Egbuka. You think of guys like Travion Henderson. Guys that genuinely, I mean, we're recording this in third week of July. They genuinely could be at an NFL training camp right now, and no one would bat an eye, because those guys are that talented. And Jack was one of the players. He said he told Ryan Day before the Cotton Bowl that he was coming back. And then he went out and had 3 sacks, and maybe that gave him some other things to think about. But he told Ryan Day that he was coming back before the Cotton Bowl. And for the next couple of days, for the next couple of weeks, he said he was just in people's ears saying, hey, this is what we can accomplish. This is why we want you back. One of those things is, hey, we want to prove it for Ryan Day. We want to do it for Ryan Day. But this is why you're back. And Jack was kind of leading the charge in the recruiting class, like you said. And he was kind of leading the charge and keep making sure that a lot of these players stayed, and we saw what happened. So I think you have to give some credit to Jack Sawyer and kind of what he did this offseason.
So he helped get the talent in the door in the first place, and he helped Ohio State keep it the second time around, and now he might be ready for a breakout 2024. That's Jack Sawyer. That's Andrew Gillis. You should get the text. It's 614-350-3315. We'll continue to text about this stuff, and listen to Buckeye Talk wherever you find podcasts. I'm Stephen Means.